Most people assume that not caring about your birthday means you're distant, ungrateful, or quietly unhappy. But that assumption misses something important about how certain minds work. For some people, the brain doesn't register symbolic milestones as emotional rewards because their nervous system prioritizes internal stability over external validation. If you've ever watched your birthday approach with indifference, or even relief that no one made a big deal out of it, you weren't being cold or disconnected. There are real psychological patterns behind that response, shaped slowly over time, and they're far more intentional and rare than most people realize. Why this behavior is more than it seems. Not caring about one's birthday is rarely about the date itself. It reflects how a person assigns emotional weight to external markers of significance. Psychology explains that for some individuals, meaning is generated internally rather than reinforced through rituals, milestones, or social acknowledgement. When the brain does not associate celebration with emotional safety or reward, the occasion simply registers as neutral. What looks like indifference is often a deeply consistent emotional logic. Different psychological paths, different stories. There is no single reason people detach from birthday celebrations. Research suggests that similar behaviors can emerge from very different developmental paths. Some learned early that attention was unreliable, inconsistent, or came with pressure. Others grew up in environments where emotional intensity was overstimulating rather than comforting. Over time, the nervous system adapts by reducing the importance of moments that demand emotional performance when life becomes too overwhelming. For certain individuals, birthdays add noise rather than joy. Psychology shows that when life already feels emotionally dense, additional focus can feel like overload instead of affirmation. The brain begins to associate special occasions with obligation, expectation, or social energy it does not have the capacity to process. Avoidance then becomes a form of regulation. Not celebrating is less about apathy and more about maintaining internal balance, internal validation, and psychological independence. Some people stop needing external markers to confirm their worth. Studies on self-concept suggest that individuals with strong internal validation do not rely on symbolic events to feel seen or valued. Their sense of identity remains stable regardless of recognition. A birthday does not add clarity to who they are, so it holds little emotional leverage. This independence is often misread as detachment when it is actually self-contained stability. How these patterns shape an entire emotional world. Over time, this mindset extends beyond birthdays. Psychology explains that once the brain deprioritizes symbolic validation, it applies the same logic across relationships, achievements, and milestones. Emotional energy becomes selective. What matters is depth, not display. The inner world becomes quieter, more contained, and less reactive to social scripts that others follow automatically. Emotional processing and protection. Emotional neutrality toward birthdays can function as protection. Research on emotional regulation shows that some people process feelings privately and slowly. Public attention compresses that process and disrupts their natural rhythm. By minimizing exposure to emotionally charged events, the nervous system preserves coherence. What appears cold on the surface is often a strategy to prevent emotional fragmentation, stability, overload, and secure self-worth. For these individuals, self-worth does not fluctuate with attention. Psychology suggests that secure internal frameworks reduce the need for reassurance through events or recognition. When self-worth is stable, celebration becomes optional rather than necessary. The absence of excitement does not signal the most fascinating group of all. there is a subset of people who feel nothing negative or positive about their birthday. Studies on affective neutrality suggest that this group experiences emotional consistency rather than emotional blunting. They are not suppressing joy. They simply do not attach it to arbitrary timelines. Their emotional landscape operates on meaning, not ceremony. A deeper question about human nature. This behavior raises a broader psychological question. Why do humans assume meaning must be collectively agreed upon to be valid? Psychology reminds us that the brain assigns significance based on lived experience, not cultural instruction. When meaning is internally generated, social rituals lose their authority. What remains is a quieter, self-directed emotional compass. What this reveals about all of us. Reactions to birthdays expose how differently people relate to attention, time, and validation. They reveal whose nervous systems are soothed by recognition and whose are destabilized by it. Psychology does not rank these responses. It explains them. Each reflects a coherent adaptation, not a deficiency. The question that matters most. The real question is not why some people ignore their birthday. It is why neutrality is so often mistaken for emptiness. Psychology shows that silence, calm, and emotional restraint can hold as much depth as excitement. Sometimes, not reacting is not avoidance. It is simply alignment with how the mind has learned to feel at home. Not caring about your own birthday isn't a flaw or emotional numbness. It's often a sign of a psyche that doesn't rely on external markers to feel real or complete. Beneath it is a mind shaped by experience, one that learned to measure meaning internally rather than through rituals, attention, or social validation. If any of this felt uncomfortably familiar, it's likely because a part of you has been operating this way for a long time, quietly and without needing explanation. And there's a reason why this pattern is often connected to something deeper. Something that shows up not just in how you treat milestones, but in how you relate to people altogether. The next layer of this psychology often appears when individuals don't just detach from celebrations, but begin cutting everyone off, not out of coldness, but out of self-preservation. If understanding yourself matters, that connection is worth sitting with a little longer.